just spent our first night in a lay-by. So yeah, it was fine, absolutely fine. So over the road is a harvester, and literally 2 minutes down the road is Old Sarum, where we're going today. And yeah, we had to just drive along. There was gates across, so obviously we did expect that, which is why we had plan B. And yeah, lovely lay-by, very quiet, didn't have any problems, slept really well. Yeah, so it's about 8:30 now. The place isn't open till 10, so we're just having a chill out this morning, relaxing with the doofs. Bless them, they're so tired. They're really struggling. But yeah, we got woken up with desperate cries for wheeze this morning at 7:30, so much for a lion. Anyway, looking forward to today, and hopefully get some good views for you guys. Cheers. Hello!
Hey! It's 10 o'clock.
It's nearly 10 o'clock, and we got to get 2 minutes that way, so let's go! Here we go! Parked up! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Okay, so Old Sarum is this incredibly important archaeological site, and the reason why it's so important is because it's so old. So the history dates back on this to pre the Iron Age. So there's just so much to see here, and it's really, really awesome to kind of be able to just come in and wander around these places. This area was a fortress for the Neolithic people, which is just unreal. And then we've got the Celtics that came in here. They were setting up as a fortress, as a protective area. Then we had the Romans come in, and we know that because there's apparently a really straight road. We're going to try and find that. And we had the Anglo-Saxons that came in, and that was, I believe, when they started printing money in this area, which made it a wealthy area, which is awesome. And then we had the Vikings came over, so I'm sure that was a pretty dramatic period. So we had the Vikings and the Saxons fighting. And when we finished that, then of course we had William the Conqueror and the Normans come over. So this bit that we can see here is the evidence of the Iron Age. So this is apparently a classic Iron Age bridge. Where the ordinary people were allowed. This is the only section that paupers like us could have been in. chairs, no pews. There's no pew to actually sit down here. And they didn't actually hold any services, which is kind of weird, isn't it? Considering it was a church. What they did have here was things like meetings and maybe like selling stuff. Yeah, not in God's house. So these bits here are the cross sections of the cross. So that's the long bit and that's the cross bit. Was demolished in the 12th century, which is crazy, right? And that's when they started to build the new cathedral. So this was all knocked down, and then in 1834, people started to realize that there was obviously something here. They started doing the excavations in 1912. That was the year Titanic sank, right? And they started to excavate here, and that's when they found these foundations. So in 1110, the first cathedral was built, which was this smaller cathedral. That was then extended to this side here, where it doubled in size. That extension. And then we did a third extension, which is right at the end there. You can see just the brick foundations. And also on the side there, you've got towers that were put on top of it. On this side, we've got gardens. They would have had gardens. The cloisters. And really interesting, over here, this would have been the cemetery for the lay people. This would have been a village, a society, and there would have been a massive cathedral up there with all this opulence and beauty and glory. And over this way, a huge castle. Okay, so the building straight ahead of us is the Great Tower. It would have been something a bit like the Tower of London, really big and imposing. Whereas the building on this side here would have been the Great Palace. So this is where the king would have been. And here you've got the well. This would have been the main water source for the people who lived here. This one here, and there was one further along, which is why it was quite difficult to provide water for all of the people who lived here. Quite tough. Chapel, and this is the altar. amazing thing is that this would have been built and painted white. So it stood really high on the hill. It was a really imposing palace to really show off the wealth and the might of William the Conqueror. So guys, this is the foundations of the Great Tower, and this would have been the basement level. Now, the really cool thing here is that this would have been mostly storage, but also it would have been where they kept the prisoners, because it's the most secure part of the whole settlement. They think that this is the prisoner section, but they use the term donjon, which is the Normandy or the French word, meaning lordly house, and that's where we got the word dungeon from. So in the 1200s, the king who was here, King Henry II, he would have had his dressing room and his toilets in the rooms above this. So whilst you only see small walls, you have to imagine it goes right up high with multiple rooms above us. He also kept in here his treasury. Now that's really interesting because this site was actually one of the places where the Saxons started making money. They used bits of metal where they imprinted coins on them, and obviously the Romans also had coins. So Old Sarum is where the Doomsday books were written. So this would have been the main king's residence. He would have had a big fire and meal in the Great Hall, and then he would come up to this bit here and he'd entertain special guests. So we're standing in the middle of the cloisters. So this would have been a covered walkway that the clergymen and the monks would have walked around contemplating, having discussions and coming up with plans. Over here, this is the bishop's palace. So the king obviously had his big castle, but the bishop obviously was a really important member of the society too, and he had a big, big crib.
This is what we get every single time. We're going to go back into the. We're going to stop walking. And we're going to go home, as it were. They just play up.
Suddenly they're full of
Suddenly
energy.
they're full of energy after being sat on the floor. He's just, don't worry, he's just shouting because she's nicked his stick. Look at the cocky look on her face. She's just so leery with it as well. Come and get it. Come and get it if you can. See, look, absolute little sister syndrome going on there. But this is what happens every time we try and actually just go back for a coffee. Kaizen's like,
You're
no.
so tired.
Kaizen, mate, buddy, can we just go? Can we go? Yeah, she puts it down to tease and then that's it. Yeah, you little monkey. Right, are you ready, Kai?
Let's go.
Let's go, buddy. Okay, so that is Old Sarum done. We're just about to head off. We're going to go and have a coffee and probably a bit of a kip first because we don't want to leave here till 4 o'clock and it's only 2:30. But for any of you thinking of coming, that's the car park. You can see where Liberty's parked. It hasn't been full all day. There's plenty of space to manoeuvre a motorhome and we're 7 metres. Plenty of space to manoeuvre. It is a little bit tight coming through the road up to the car park, but we made it through. It's fine. So £3 to park there all day, and actually most people haven't even been parking, but we paid because it contributes towards the upkeep of the facility. Otherwise you just wouldn't have these things. And I think it was $11.80 for both of us and the dogs to get in and do the entire tour.
So you book online and you get some discount.
Yeah.
So we did that, and it's mid-December, but it's not too cold. It's been dry.
not bad at all.
It drizzled a little bit, but nothing horrendous. So yeah, great visit. Really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And the staff were fantastic. Really, really friendly.
Yeah, really knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Gave us a little mini history lesson when we first went up there, and yeah, it's just a wonderful place. There's just dog walkers up here and other families looking at the site, and yeah, it's really impressive.
So it's an English heritage site. So if you are a member, you do get free parking and free entry.
Cool. Right. I think it's coffee time, right? Okay, let's do it. Look who we call being a naughty little monkey. What is this?
What are you doing sitting
Your
on
own-
Mummy's chair? That's Mummy's chair. Get off the box. Get off the box, woman.
Oh, you got caught. Busted. Oh. I've got you.
Oh,
I've got you.
Dad, it moves. Right, on your beds.
There it is.
Is that it? That's
Yeah.
the people. So we can't hear. What makes you think it's murder?
What can I get for you, Sergeant Angel?
I'll have a cranberry juice.